This conference will now be recorded.
We have people here on the phone and in the circuit courtroom. During the time for the public comment, you'll have 3 minutes. We would ask, because of the crowd, that you designate somebody if you have a common concern, that if at all possible, you designate somebody to speak to the board. And those that are down in the district court, they're welcome to come up here to speak to us likewise. At the podium, there's a sign-in sheet for those that are talking to us to make the clerk's job a little easier. So it's time to call a meeting to order. Committee of the Whole meeting, May 25th, 2021. Madam Clerk, would you call roll?
Commissioner Cheboygan. Here. Commissioner Sangster.
Here.
Commissioner Newman.
Here.
Commissioner Williams.
Here.
Commissioner Metowski. Here. Commissioner Wallace.
Here.
Commissioner Warfield.
Here. All present on the shore. And for the invocation and the pledge. Mike, can you do the pledge? So let us pray. Heavenly Father, guide us today as we discuss the affairs of the citizens of Cheboygan County. Help us to make wise decisions on their behalf for the good. This we pray in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. We had a rather straightforward agenda. How about a motion to approve the agenda?
I will make the motion.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. I'll support it. Roberta seconded. Thank you. Thanks, Ray.
Mr. Chair, could I make a comment there? I see that when there's a certificate of appreciation, perhaps given the size of crowds there, we'll move that up so that,
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Let's move that up to right after. And then Chum won't have to hang around.
That would be real appreciation.
Okay, how about a motion to approve the agenda is altered?
I will make that motion.
Support.
I'll support it.
Okay.
Commissioner Sangster.
yes.
Commissioner Newman.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Metowski.
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Commissioner Cheboygan. Yes. 7.
Okay, we're moving 6 up. Mr. Oswald is here with us, so. Let's see if I can sneak through here. 57-acre body. Chum, would you come up?
Planning and zoning staff here.
Chum? This is Chum Otwell, Charles. Nickname has been Chum ever since I've known him.
Quite a while.
Certificate of Appreciation. The certificate is awarded to Charles Chum Oswald by the Cheboygan County Board of Commissioners in recognition of his 19-plus years of loyal and dedicated service as a member of the Cheboygan County Planning Commission, which is not an easy task. Chum, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, one.
Okay.
Okay. I guess the comment I'd like to make is between the supervisor and the planning and zoning. It bought me 3 new trucks and 1 new car. So it was well worth it.
Mike, did you want to say anything there? Chum was on planning commission for many, many years, and he's kind of making a little bit of a joke about that, but as far as how much he gets paid, because they really donate a lot of time over the years and serve the community well. So,
Well, I didn't work with some for very long, approximately 3 years, but, I think I speak for my colleagues and the other planning commission, and we truly appreciate his time and effort. As Mr. Wallace said, it's not an easy job, and to have that measure of longevity speaks volumes about his dedication and service, so again, thank you.
thank you, John.
Okay, at this, portion of the agenda, we're down to citizens' comments. First, we'll take comments from people in the room, in the commissioner's room. Please, come up to the podium, identify yourselves, sign in. 3 minutes.
My name is Dale Giddings.
Hi, Dale.
I'm on the Board of Canvassers. And I wanted to just say a word this morning about Brian May, who recently stepped down from the board. Brian's a good man. It was a pleasure working with him. He did a lot of good service for the county.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Hi, Vince.
I'm Vince Lametta, and I'd like to stand with the clerks for all the townships and for the county. I think there's a strong work ethic in this community, and those folks certainly embody that. As you move forward with this process of election integrity, I hope you keep that in mind. My background is, from a young child, my mom was one of those ladies that went and did the elections, along with all my friends in the neighborhood, their mothers too. And even though they may have had a different political perspective, when they came together, they were very serious about the task that they were assigned to. And I don't see that that's changed any at all from my move from where I was to where I am now. So I would like to be in support of those folks. I think they work very hard. I think they're getting beat up unmercifully right now. They're not, it's not justified how that's happening right now. I think the clerks have a good process in place. I think we ask you to consider that as you move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Vince. Anyone else?
Good morning. William Brown, Cheboygan, Michigan.
Hi, Bill.
How you doing this morning, sir? I'm not here to beat up on the county clerk. I'm here to have integrity on our voting, transparency. This is a free country. I like to see it kept that way. The beautiful thing this morning, coming in, seeing no mask wearing. And you got Arizona, Georgia. They're going to the mail-in ballots to see what's right and what's wrong. That's what we need here, is integrity to stand up for our country and our county. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Beth Bridgman. I think I was probably the first person into both the city clerk's office and the county clerk's office after the election to say that we hadn't seen any problems, nobody had heard any complaints, and I brought them some goodies and said thank you for the hard work you put into the election. It wasn't until my absentee ballot wasn't counted at the state level that I suspected there might be more to the story. I have never advocated for going after our clerks at any level. We know that most of the problem has been conducted at levels above the clerks. And if you're not very tech savvy, it would be hard to understand. what was possible at every level without anybody in the county working at the elections or, with the tabulators understanding what went on. So this has never been about going after our clerks. Now, if they hide behind some state statutes that we don't know what they're talking about, and they don't hold that the Federal Election Commission, if you're using voting machines, an acceptable error rate is 1 in 10 million ballots. And I think we need to start from there and look at how did that happen. And that doesn't require a lot of people. It requires some very tech-savvy people from maybe offshore, maybe in the state, maybe in the country, making some changes that the clerks were unaware of. Just so we're clear, the forensic audit has nothing to do with any clerk level activity. It has to do with, was there access from foreign people into our election and into our voter rolls, into our voter base at the state level, and into actually everybody's cell phones. 500,000 people's cell phones and information was hacked from the night of the election. So this has never been about it. I've asked Karen right from the get-go to please review the Antrim audit and provide a statement on the fact that she could see that maybe some things were done that they were unaware of. This is not a personal attack against any clerk. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Anyone else?
Joanne Cromley.
Hi, Joanne.
I am hoping you can help me understand why you are pursuing fraudulent claims that there were election irregularities in Cheboygan County. Instead of questioning the honesty and reputation of our county clerk, the 19 township clerks, and the city clerk, we should be thanking them for the excellent job they did during the 2020 election and previous elections. We should be thanking all of the election workers that stepped up to work the long hours, getting trained, as well as on election day. From the elected officials to the elected poll workers, we should not disrespect the work they do. We should take pride that our county runs a clean and honest election and one of integrity. Should the Board of Commissioners pursue an audit, you will be opening up the county to a lawsuit by Dominion, who currently has multiple lawsuits in the billions. Is this what we want for our community? Can we afford to risk this kind of lawsuit knowing that our elections were and are free of fraud? Further, the voting machines are federal critical infrastructure and should not be turned over to uncredited agencies. If the Board of Commissioners chooses such an agency, then the county will be responsible for having to pursue new voting machines for future elections at a cost in the millions, if not more. Is this how the Board of Commissioners wants to spend our money? I implore each of you to think long and hard about going down this road. Personally, I think it's a slap in the face to the county, city, and township clerks. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Anyone else?
Debbie Pond.
I'm sorry, name was what?
Debbie Pond.
Debbie Pond, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Good.
I'm an active voter in Cheboygan County, Benton Township to be specific, and I have nothing but praise for how our county, city, and township clerks have handled our elections with grace, fairness, and efficiency. I believe that this is the overwhelming feeling about how our local elections have been held. Last week, Cheboygan County was featured in a Washington Post story about election fraud. Needing more information, I did FOIA request for the meeting that was referenced in the article. Imagine my surprise listening to the Election Information Subcommittee meeting to hear that there is a potential plan to hand over our election machines to unknown experts provided by lawyer Stephanie Lambert to analyze the data and software. Considering the lawyer offering these experts for free, I have to believe that there is some sort of personal gains or strings attached that is best for a county to steer clear of. In the meeting, Steve DeLongchamp from Election Source said that our election equipment is deemed critical infrastructure by the federal government. Just like a nuclear power plant, it cannot be turned over to an unaccredited agency or company. So striking a deal like that with a lawyer seems like a bad business deal to me, especially if it causes the county to lose data or corrupt the machines, which would require us to purchase all new machines. But I, like most of us here, am not an election expert. I believe if any action is taken on this issue, the subcommittee should take the direct advice of Commissioner Mary Ellen Tribon and County Clerk Karen Brewster, who has many years of direct experiences with elections. But really, wouldn't we rather just like to thank all the clerks for a job well done and keep our equipment safe, rather than question the work of the clerks and potentially waste that money that, thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Anyone else?
Hello, yes. My name's Owen Goslin,
Hi, Owen.
and I live in the city of Cheboygan. And like Debbie, I'd like to share my concern about the election integrity or election information subcommittee that met a couple weeks ago, which I only learned about by reading about it in the Washington Post. So imagine, surprise. And I want to tie it back to Antrim County because that's come up quite a bit. And as you probably know, last week, the lawsuit in Antrim County was thrown out of court, one of the last lawsuits in the country tied to the 2020 election. There was never any basis for the accusations of fraud in Antrim, but a few loud voices enjoyed the media attention and thought nothing about causing division in the community for their own partisan gain. The Antrim County Clerk, Cheryl Guy, I think, is a hero for standing up to the death threats that she has received and consistently working to uphold our election laws and the truth about that election. So I was really dismayed to learn that Cheboygan is now also considering going down the path of Antrim County. At the last election subcommittee meeting, the commissioners hosted a downstate lawyer, who you just heard about, Stephanie Lambert, and let her entertain the idea of a free, quote-unquote, audit of Cheboygan election devices. Please be aware of anyone offering the county free services, especially a lawyer, because things in life are never truly free. What cost will there be for our county's reputation if we go down that path? Who's going to pay for the litigation fees if we start interfering with the November election? Who's going to pay for the disruption that this is going to cost, that many hours of the clerks for getting the information? And there's absolutely, as we all agree, no credible evidence of fraud in our county. There's a Latin phrase used in the law, which lawyers often ask, which is cui bono, who benefits, and it's definitely one we should ask when people from downstate come up here offering us free things when we don't have a problem. So I think people of Cheboygan don't need an audit or the division that'll cause. We should, in fact, celebrate the record number of people who did come out to vote and did so during the pandemic, and we should celebrate the staff of the clerks and the election workers because it was a free and fair election. I served as a poll challenger. I did not see anything that I thought was suspicious. In fact, it just renewed my confidence in the election. And who ran for office who lost. And I accept that because we have a system that works. And again, if anybody is questioning our system and what goes into it, volunteer, work as an election worker, talk to your clerks who are really the experts. And again, I just urge you, don't go down this path because look what happened in Antrim County, look what's going on in Arizona with this audit by a third-party company. I think we just don't need that. So, thank you.
Thank you, Owen. Anyone else here in the room?
Mrs. France.
Hi, Missy. Would you sign in as well?
Sure. It's nice to see everybody's smiling faces, finally, love it. I don't have anything fancy to read off, print it off or anything, but that room is packed. I see there's a ton of people on the call, so I think the sleeping giant has awoken. And I see here we've got a new theme coming out, that we don't want to, have the, county investing a lot of money into this election integrity issue. And it sounds like I've heard that we already have done some, investing into it, and that was one of the excuses why we don't want to push forward. Now, I'm kind of curious about that, because that makes me think, all right, where is this money going that we've already invested in, maybe attorney fees and that type of thing? So I guess it goes back to, where is the attorney getting their information, and what is their advice, and who is leading that attorney? That would be one question I would have. But I guess I want to remind everybody here that if I remember correctly, you guys are here representing the people of Cheboygan County, correct? So the more I see people waking up, standing up, talking about this election integrity issue, and seeing it across not only the country, but the world. It's not just us in the United States that are seeing this issue. It's a big deal. So I really think that if we're concerned about the money being spent, that's silly. I think we need to focus on where, what's happening in the county and what the people want to see happen. And it sounds like the people want to see something serious happen here and are concerned about their vote. And I just want to remind you guys that you guys work for them, if I'm got that right, and you guys are going to have elections come up again, that type of stuff. So instead of being guided by attorneys with a financial investment coming from, you might say, top down, maybe we should listen to the people from the bottom up and consider what the people of Cheboygan County want. And I guess that's all I have to say. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Commissioner. Anyone else like to address the board? You're up. Please sign in there and tell us your name.
My name is Al Moberly, and I'll make my comments very brief. I just I'm really afraid that Cheboygan County is going down a road that I don't think it should be going down. I think we've had good election integrity since the 1700s. I'm sure it's changed over time a great deal, but our last presidential election that year, there were numerous recounts and investigations of elections turning up very little problem and absolutely no problem that I've found that affected the outcomes of the elections. Another thing that, now I've voted through the years for both Republicans and Democrats, and I know that Cheboygan County is heavily Republican, and it seems like this move for quote-unquote integrity seems to be within the fringe of the Republican Party. Why would they choose Cheboygan County? I believe all of our commissioners are Republicans. I just don't understand why Cheboygan County has been chosen. And if Cheboygan County is going to get on the map, I hope it's not for a red herring like this that is proposed by some supposed patriots and people who are falsely concerned about our election integrity. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. Anyone else?
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Shawn Whitewood.
Don,
Shawn, S-H-A-W-N.
will you sign in?
Okay. I live in Cheboygan County, just the side of Nassau City, and I just want to add my voice in support of those who have already spoken against this, proposed audit of, our vote, the 2020 vote. I think it's a big waste of time and money at the taxpayers' expense. And Cheboygan County voted for former President Trump at a 2-to-1 rate, and I see no reason why we need to audit this vote. I'm a Democrat, so obviously I didn't vote for him, but I see no reason why we should look into it and see if, there is any wrongdoing. I think it's already been proven that there hasn't. And I think that the company that is trying to come in and do this audit is a very suspect company and has already been proven through the courts to not be reliable. And I think it would be a big mistake on the part of Cheboygan to go along with it. And I just want to add my concern. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Morning.
Mark?
My name's Stephen Hatt. I live in Indian River.
How are you, Steve?
I'm well, thank you, sir. Glad to be here. Glad to see you folks are here to do your work. The late, great Sam Rayburn, longtime Republican House Chair, Speaker, famously said one thing that I remember well. He said, quote, "Takes a carpenter to build a barn, but any jackass could kick it down." Leave that thought with you. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Did you have a comment?
Do I have a comment?
Yeah.
Yes.
Please sign in and give us your name. Tell us your name.
My name is Rob Ross.
Hi, Rob.
I'm a citizen of Cheboygan County. I work the elections in Benton Township. And I have to say that for 99.9% of everybody who works elections, and I'm not speaking for them, I'm speaking on their behalf, they are honest people, and the opportunities for them to screw up are so minuscule as not to be reality. The idea that there is some reality behind failed elections in Michigan is not only impossible, but it's so unreal that nobody in their right mind should ever entertain that idea. Anybody who wants to work the election has to be there with other people of other political beliefs, other political ideas. You work in concert with each other, and whoever brought this idea is simply not trying to do something that's honest or rational. They are trying to obfuscate our electoral process. Now, every commissioner here might be a Republican, but anybody who votes to do this kind of thing is not an American. This is an un-American, unrealistic piece of political prejudice and propaganda. It is not about doing anything real. That's all I've got to say.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Janet Machewski, and I'm here because I hear a lot of talk about money, and I hear a lot of talk about other things that just don't seem important to election integrity. I think it's not about the past, it's not about 2020, it's about the present. It's about now and making sure things are straight for the future. I'm sure there's not one of us that wouldn't lay down our lives for our children or our grandchildren. And I know that there's many, many young men and women who have laid down their lives to preserve the freedom of this country. And I believe that that is what we need to do. It's not about money. It's not about party. It's not about the past. It's about the future. And I think that we need to take the risk and consider taking whatever risk it takes to preserve that for our children and our grandchildren. This is a nervous place to be, so forgive me for my stuttering. But I know I've spoke to each one of you before, and I don't think it's any less important today than it was a few weeks ago, or it is for the next years to come. And I think we just have to take that into our own consideration. I don't know if any of you have anyone that has sacrificed life on our military to preserve this country and our freedom, but if you have, I'm sure you have a special thing in your heart. And I don't care if you're Republican or if you're Democrat or if you're independent or what you are. This is not about that. And that's pretty much all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'm Joe Klein from Benton Township.
Hi, Joe.
We've heard a lot of quotes from the past. I have one of my own from the past, not that I was around or even thought of then. It was in 1941 when Franklin Delano Roosevelt said we have today, should have wrote it down. God help me. That day will live in infamy. But right now, we have too much fear from, seems like every different angle. I want you, this free audit for one reason. Like Janet eloquently said, integrity of our future. We can't change the past, all right? We can learn from it. I'm hoping that each and every one of you remember that little puppet show I put on the last time I was here. That wasn't meant to be entertaining. It was to try to get ahead and bring home a point. And I'd like you to go ahead and think of one vision that each and every one of you at this defining moment, if you decide to vote on this voter integrity, that each and every one of you, in the eyes of all the people and outside in our county, will go ahead and view you as a shining star, not just a public servant, which you are. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Anyone else in the room? Is there anybody down in district court that would like to come up and speak to the board? Wait a couple minutes, you can get up the hallway.
I signed the sheet already.
Come on in, state your name, sign in. You have 3 minutes.
Good morning, everyone.
Your name?
Randall Strong,
Hi, Randy.
Wolverine, Michigan. Just as simple as I've been any time I've stood up here in front of you guys and spoke to you. Thank you very much, everyone, for all the work and stuff you guys do. I really appreciate it. Sitting in the other room, I heard some words, and infrastructure was one of them. Heard a lot of talk about money. That was another thing I heard a lot about. 1994, I made $12,500. That was my pay for the year. Kind of bragging on that. And those are kind of the things that a person looks at as okay, because I slept inside most of the time as long as I wasn't deployed. And I usually had food in my stomach, you know, as long as there wasn't too much going on to actually take the time to sit down and eat. I think myself and a bunch of other people that would like to have this election integrity looked at for the future are sign similar oaths and contracts whereby we inconvenience ourselves not for money, but for the very concept of freedom. A freedom that several decades ago, Ronald Reagan warned us was, you know, this is it. This is the last stand right here, America. We lose it here, we lose it everywhere. Heard infrastructure. Infrastructure is kind of a word. I try not to watch the news. I really do, but I can't avoid it at home because the boss usually has the news on and a lot going on. It seems that I saw something about somebody trying to do an audit in Arizona, and a bunch of the data just is gone. It's gone. If I was trying to drive downstate to see my brother and a big chunk of I-75 was missing, I would say the infrastructure is broken. There's something wrong with the infrastructure if a big chunk of it's just missing. In an ideal utopian world, you know, we're all crazy. They come in, they do an audit, and everything's fine. Everything's perfect. Everything's above board. Okay, you guys go back to work. Do whatever you're doing. No problem. We will, you know, for sure. But, you know, the young lady came up before me. It's not for me. It's for my kids. It's for my grandkids. You know, we tell our young people, this is where you get to vote and you get to decide what is happening in your country, in your state, in your county. We just want to make sure that, you know, everyone's voice is heard. That's all we would like to do. Thank you very much for the time and effort you guys put into everything. Everyone have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy.
Good job.
Anyone else?
No one else in district court?
Yes, yeah. But how about on the phone?
Good morning, John Moore from,
Hi, John.
I have two comments if I have, or commissioners. First, on your resolution 9D, I would urge that you again pass that, bearing in mind it is not requiring anybody to do anything, but it is allowing them to if they see that as being the safe way to do business. We've had over the past that we have done remotely and we've done some in person, but it's nice to have the option. And the second is a pass on from our clerk. She has received numerous letters concerning this election integrity commission. And she urges you, as one of the letters says, don't go down the rabbit hole. And she's also made the open invitation to Commissioner Warfield to come join her for our August school election and learn firsthand how elections are handled. And that's the sum of my comments.
Thank you, John.
I would.
What's your name?
My name is Teresa Ross.
Hi, Teresa.
Basically, this whole election integrity exercise is built on a lie. I am an election worker, and every clerk and election worker out there has been trained. We are dedicated to the process. The process is fair and accurate without an expected outcome. This is a slap in the face to have a private company step in with the outcome being the goal rather than the process. It is ludicrous that our leaders, including elected officials such as yourselves, continue to push the big lie. I would suggest that every elected official be mandated to take the same training election workers take. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else on the phone?
Louis Balance.
Hi, Louis.
Just a observation from last week. The county had a meeting, a reconvened meeting of the committee of the whole. Well, your resolution states, in whereas Section 3.2 of the Michigan's Open Meetings Act, MCL 152632, it says that it authorizes a public body to meet electronically or to allow members of the public to participate remotely at a public meeting or due to a statewide or local emergency. Well, the county is under a local emergency right now. So last week's meeting was held on Friday was in violation of the Michigan's Open Meetings Act. Because yes, and also the local emergency because there was no call-in number for that meeting. Second thing is for this meeting coming up on Thursday, the board planning session at the San Rose Senior Center, that does not have a call-in number. So that also is going to be a second violation, which would authorize the Sheriff Dale Claremont to issue a $500 citation to every Board of Commissioner and the county administrator for the violation of the Open Meetings Act because of page 14. It does state location, the date, time, and you cannot make it so it's uncumbersome to the person to attend those meetings or to be shut out of them because there was no measure allowed. So you need to reconsider Thursday's meeting. Either have the county IT down to the San Rose Senior Center and put in the infrastructure needed for the call-in option, or don't hold that meeting until next week so you can get the infrastructure in place, or hold it at the county building where you do have the infrastructure in place. So, it's it's not right to hold meetings basically in secret or in a location where you cannot get to. But thankfully, I do have regional ride for Thursday, so it should be for the other people who cannot attend the meeting in person to have an option for the telephone. And I do believe that you do need to have this telephone option made permanent. You have an in-person and a telephone option. So it does comply with the Michigan's Open Meetings Act, page 14.
Louis, Chairman Wallace.
Yes.
Your time's
Yes.
up here.
Okay, we'll be back for the second comment. Thank you. Bye.
Anyone else on the phone?
Hello, this is David Martin. I'm a City of Cheboygan resident. Can you hear me?
Hi, Dave.
Hello. So I recently heard that there's two commissioners that have been talking about the election fraud, which is well and good. They can do whatever they want in their spare time. But my concern is they are spending the commissioner time, which is a tax-funded position, I believe. And furthermore, I read that there's a consideration of actually paying for an audit. Now, I would suggest if anyone wants to do an audit, they can pay it out of their pocket. Because I used to work for the United Way, and what we did to get funds, we went out into the community and asked for donations. So before the commissioners actually consider doing an audit, maybe they should do it out of their own pockets. And also, one more thing. I'm sure you all know Cheboygan is somewhat of a struggling community. And this is absurd to actually spend time trying to figure this out. Freedom or not, I've heard that term whipped around a few times, but let's try to help the poor and struggling there in Cheboygan. That's all.
Thank you, Dave. Anyone else?
This is Leonard Page. Can you hear me?
Hi, Leonard, yes.
Yes, I live in Grant Township, and the challenge seems to be to the Dominion machine voting process.
How you doing, sir? I'm great, thank you.
In any event, there are 66 counties in Michigan that use the Dominion voting machines. And I'm very curious as to how Cheboygan is being selected by some group for sort of an audit. There was litigation, of course, in Wayne County and Antrim County. And I would simply like to point out, Judge Kevin Elsenheimer dismissed the Antrim County litigation recently, and he made it rather clear that audit procedures are governed by state law and the state constitution. And I would strongly suggest that the commissioners may wish to consult County Clerk Aaron Brewster and Civil Counsel Brian Graham as to how audit procedures should be conducted. I just, we've now been, 6 months, over 6 months since the November 20th election, and there's still no evidence of widespread voter fraud, nor evidence of any irregularities in the Dominion count process. At some point, we have to stop this. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Leonard. Anyone else?
Yes, this is Betsy again.
Hi, Betsy.
Hi, good morning. I just wanted to say, kind of off the back of a couple people's comments, that I feel it's quite embarrassing and un-American of people that don't think any kind of election integrity is important moving forward. This is something that is so important for our country, our children. I mean, many people that are speaking up, you're older. What about my 18-year-old who voted for the first time this year? And her future moving forward, my grandchildren. This is not a joke. And nobody is insulting county clerk, and nobody is insulting or unappreciative of the people that volunteered, for election day and worked the process. Nobody is blaming those people. If somebody speaks out, nobody is blaming those people. We all want to work together as a community. This isn't a one-sided thing, but it's very important. And the people that are speaking up are also the people that have not shown up at the meetings and know what this is actually about. That this isn't about the integrity of the people that worked at the booth, the election day. This is about a lot of things that you don't understand unless you've been paying attention, and that you are savvy with, electronics and things like that. There's way more to it than just people sitting there counting votes. And you know what? There's no cost for any machines if we actually voted by, just by hand. That's all.
Thank you, Betsy. Anyone else? Anyone else on the phone wants to address the board?
I'll speak.
Okay, your name?
My name is John Petkus.
Hi, John.
Hi. So I'd like to speak to the county commissioner today, if that's okay. This is important enough, but I'm not out splitting firewood. I worked the election in 2021. I was an election challenger. I worked with several nonprofit organizations, and I actually drove around. I think I touched on 19 different precincts looking at the election. I also attended law school, graduated from Michigan State University College of Law in 2011. So for whatever it's worth, I do have a little bit of knowledge in terms of elections. There's a couple things that I think are being missed in some of the discussion today, and I thought that it would be important to bring them out. First of all, there is a risk to our election. There is a danger to the future, and I think that the true danger to the future is not that we didn't have an audit in this particular county at this particular moment. That danger is that we are undermining the public's faith in our election process. All of this hubbub, all of this conversation that is being done across the country, across the world, as someone mentioned earlier, has the exact goal of undermining the faith in our election, undermining the faith in our election officials, undermining the faith in the people who oversee in our elections. I would also like to point out that it is very true that this commission has no authority to authorize an audit. It is not legal for them to do so, and in fact, it puts the county in jeopardy. I would strongly urge you to speak with an attorney, an election attorney, and then also, if you insist on an audit going forward, the free audit that is being offered is demonstrably from a person who is very biased. This attorney defended the Trump organization and defended Sidney Powell in court in January. She's being cited by the Michigan bar for that because they brought a case without any evidence. So if you insist on having some sort of audit, be sure it's, first of all, it's not your authority to do so, but second of all, this is not independent. And that's something that needs to be said. Thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else out there on the phone?
Yes, I would
Your
like
name?
to reiterate that you have no authority to call
Excuse me, what's your name, sir?
Christopher Kress. I live
Hi, Chris.
in Indian. Thank you. You have no authority to be calling a recount of this election. I mean, if you want to call it a recount, we have a couple of people that were voted in that we need to recount. Maybe, yes, they may have been Republicans, but they were on the same ticket as you know who. And this is not going to go very well. If we're going to recount one person's election, we need to recount every person on the ballot who was elected in the past in 2020. Thank you.
Thank you, Christopher. Anyone else?
Yes, hello.
Hello, your name?
Amy Naylor Joy from Mullet Lake.
Hi.
Hi. We're concerned about why there's a question of doing this recount. The election was fair and certified. And if the election equipment gets turned over to somebody unaccredited and unauthorized, we're going to have to pay to replace everything. So it seems like there's no cause and there's significant cost to this action. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else?
Lena Thompson.
Hi, Lena, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank
Good.
you. Benton Township. First, I would just like to remind everybody what the history is of all of this supposed election integrity. You know, we've been through just craziness when it comes to putting a doubt in how we do our elections here. There's nothing wrong with our elections. If you look at the counties that were targeted for the 2020 election, counties that contain Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Detroit, and Nevada. What do a lot of them have in common is that they are largely African American majority cities or Latino majority cities. Those are the only counties that they decided to target. All those 60 different cases that they took that were thrown out, it was about those counties. So now what doesn't make sense is why all of a sudden are we targeting Cheboygan County, which is obviously a 95% or 98% white county that has no issue. This election integrity is really just another word for an election circus that you guys, that someone from outside of this county wants to have here. They want to turn us into Maricopa County for some reason. I don't understand why. And also I'd like to correct, one of the guys said, oh, I don't watch the news very much, but I did hear that a bunch of stuff was deleted in Maricopa County. Well, maybe you should watch the news more. Maybe you should start reading more. But all of that has been debunked, and the county, there is no deleted data. That was a lie. And also, if you guys are thinking about having the cyber ninjas come to Cheboygan County, again, why are we having the election integrity circus come to Cheboygan County? All you're going to do is make Cheboygan County look like a bunch of idiots in the eyes of Michigan. What we have here is we have free and fair elections. There are no issues. You have a solution looking for a problem. You have people that are acting out because Black people came out to vote in record numbers, and we were able to make a dent in who is now our president. And because of that, we have a widespread backlash saying that all of a sudden, oh, we must have voter fraud. It's not voter fraud you guys are worried about. It's actually voter suppression, and that you want to make it so that people cannot vote. We want to take people off the rolls. We want to remove them. This does not help us. There's nothing scientific that says that this stuff will help us. There's nothing to prove that there is a problem. And from what I understand, this one woman that wants to bring this circus to town, she's with Sidney Powell. I mean, come on. Sidney Powell's being sued.
Lena, excuse me, this is Chairman John. Your time is up. Thank you for your comment.
Okay, thanks.
Excuse me a minute. Is there a conversation going on in the back? It's hard enough to hear the phone.
And she should have, like the rest of the other people were.
I just didn't hear you.
Her time ran over, and I thought she should be cut off.
Okay.
Like the rest of the other people were.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else out there on the phone?
Try it.
Anyone else on the phone wants to address the board? Okay, that time is closed. Thank you for your comments and your participation. We're going to move on now to the administrator's report. Item 7 in your agenda, administrator's report.
A couple items on Marina Feedback project. We have some tile installation starting this week. Our HR director starts from June 11th, and we submitted insurance information for the 4th of July fireworks. So staff will be processing that and reviewing with the city as far as any protocols. Just to give an update on health department rules on July 1st, it's called that all indoor will be lifted, and June 1st on all outdoor. So the 4th of July event should be fine at the facility. Any parking in the parking lot area would be okay at that point in time. So if something changes, we'll work with the city from there, but at this point in time, it appears the rules will permit that. Just a comment on open meeting posting. Our state of emergency allows municipal units in Cheboygan County to either hold a remote meeting or not. It doesn't require them to do that. And so I just want to make clarification. I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Any questions for the administrator board? Moving right along, there's no old business, we're into new business. Item 9 on your agenda. U.S. Department of Treasury Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Plan. Sounds like a sue.
As you guys, I'm sure have heard in the news, the county has been awarded about $4,909,567 from the U.S. Department of Treasury Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, also known as the America Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA, as they're calling it. The period of performance is from March 3 of 2021 until December 31 of 2024. Once the award is accepted, the county will receive half of the funding up front and the remainder in approximately 1 year. The award provides 4 areas in which the funding will be spent, which will be discussed at the work session on Thursday. This request is only to accept the award so the funding can be received. So my recommendation is a motion to accept the $4,909,567 grant award from the U.S. Department of Treasury Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund and authorize the administrator to electronically accept the award terms.
Questions for the financial administrator? I have one question. When will we get the money and how many payments?
As soon as, if you approve the acceptance, Jeff has a form, what you had in the packet.
Okay.
He signs it, we will electronically submit it, and from my understanding, it takes about 4 to 5 days. I know some other counties have already received the funding because they did it right away.
To receive it in one lump sum or in
We'll
payment?
receive 50% of it, and then the other 50% is to come no less than 1 day of when we send the application in. So if we sent it in today, we would get the other half a year from today.
Thank you, Sue. Any questions for the finance director? How about a motion, board?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion to accept $4,909,567 grant award from the U.S. Department of Treasury Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund and authorize the administrator to electronically accept the award terms.
Support?
I'll support that.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Metowski?
Yes.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
Commissioner Warfield?
Yes.
Commissioner Tribon?
Yes.
Commissioner Sangster?
Yes.
7-0.
Thank you, that motion's carried. Moving down to 9B, 2021 budget amendment, the Fund 285.
This is just a request to set up a fund to amend the budget for 2021 so that we can keep this money separate so that it's not intermingled with the other funds and then keep a separate accounting for it. So this is just a motion to approve the budget amendment to create Fund 285, America Rescue Plan Act, and raise revenue and expenditures by $4,909,567.
So it's a carry through on this. How about a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Newman.
I'll support.
Thank you, Ron. Any further discussion on Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Metowski?
Yes.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
Commissioner Warfield?
Yes.
Commissioner Tribon?
Yes.
Commissioner Sangster?
Yes.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
7-0.
Thank you. Moving down to 9C, Fairground Agreement.
We have a request from Humane Society to hold a garage sale on June 4th and 5th. Our recommendation is to approve the agreement with the Humane Society and authorize the chair to sign.
So they don't have much time, do they?
No. Last year, their event was canceled, of course, and so I think they plan on having two this year, so this is an early event, I think, to help, sell some backlog of, I guess, stuff they have, and of course, we'll work with their staff in the buildings, maintaining 6-foot separation, again, on July 1st, that's all supposed to lift for indoor events also.
Sure. Chair, I'll make the motion that we approve to request an agreement with the Cheboygan County Humane Society.
Okay,
Support.
yeah, that's for 2 days, June 4th and 5th. It's a big event. Let me tell you, I never seen so much. Stop. Madam Clerk, would you call a roll?
Commissioner Wallace,
Yes.
Commissioner Warfield.
Yes.
Commissioner Trybar,
Yes.
Commissioner Sangster,
Yes.
Commissioner Newman,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Metowski.
Yes.
7-0.
It's kind of like when you have a cottage and you get all your rejects from your house and you put it in the cottage. Anyway, it's a good deal. You can find some good deals there. Okay, then we're on to D, Resolution 2021-13, declaring and approving the local state of emergency. Here again, the sole purpose of that is just so other municipalities within our jurisdiction here in Cheboygan County can have virtual meetings. Or we can have, that's all, we need to declare it. How about a motion? I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Would you call a roll on that, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Trybar,
Yes.
Commissioner Sangster,
No.
Commissioner Newman,
No.
Commissioner Williams,
No.
Commissioner Metowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Wallace,
Yes,
Commissioner Warfield.
No.
that motion has failed. Right?
It's 4-0, 3 yes.
Yeah, that motion has failed. Might want to, if John's not listening, it might affect his township. Board matters for discussion. I only have a couple things that I gave everybody a copy of the board goals as for our planning session. I just ask you that you review them and kind of pay attention to economic development as it's a key issue of what we're trying to do here and revive the county a bit. And tomorrow at 4:30 at Charlevoix Township Hall and just outside of Charlevoix, we're going to have the ribbon cutting of the 800 megahertz system for the 911. And then Thursday is our planning session. Breakfast at the senior center is at 9, planning session 9:30. That's all I have. Anybody else? Okay, do you want to adjourn for a bit? Everybody's been sitting quiet for a bit. Let's take a 10-minute. 10:39, be back here in a minute.
No, I would like to really understand.
I want to give up my chair back.
Yeah, no.
We're at a 10-minute recess. Hello, Dave, this is the boardroom. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear, Jeff.
Thank you.
Okay, we're back in session. It's 10:52, a little couple minutes extra, so. We're down to citizens' comments again. I ask if you've already spoken to the board that you abridge your comments and speak to us next week if possible, or next meeting.
Yeah, well, I'd like to comment, but on a different matter altogether.
Okay, that's fine. Vince Lametta.
On a positive note.
Yes.
There are a group of ladies in Cheboygan and Emmett County that have started a chapter of the American Rosie the Rivers Association.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not familiar with them, the Rosies are the ladies that built the ships and the planes and the tanks and everything during World War II. So they've been going out and finding these ladies, they're in their 90s and beyond, and getting their stories and getting them printed in the local paper and over in St. Ignace and wherever they're at. They are putting in a Rosie the Riveter rose garden right out front of the cannon. The ground's already been tilled up. Thank you very much, Jeff. And they'll be planting some roses with some placards that people have sponsored from the families of some of these ladies that are still with us. And they're still in search of people that, some of these Rosies, to get the stories out there. So if you know someone that was part of the war effort back then that's still around and would be willing to share their story, they're out there, out and about. Linda Rogers is my wife's name. You can find her. She's involved in a lot of things. So I just wanted to share that with you. I'm very proud of her and what the ladies are doing. And I think they, along with the Rosies, should be celebrated.
That's great.
Thanks for the time.
Yeah. My older sister built, I think it was V-24s or 25s at Willow Run. I don't know.
Just a little addition to that. The Mackinac Ice Cutter Museum that's in Mackinac City, they're doing a Rosie the Riveter's display there right now. I helped build some of that for them. And last year there was a lady that toured the ship, and it was a little bit of a struggle for her to get up that gangplank. She was determined. She's walking around the ship and she said, "You see these welds right over here? I did this. This ship was built in the Toledo ship factory." So to see someone who was a part of that come forward and still be able to point out where she was part of the war effort was pretty inspiring.
You bet.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for your input.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to talk to the board?
I'd like to add just a sentence or two.
Please, would you come up? So.
I just want to say that listening to your in the courtroom, I hear calls that sound like somebody is really trying to say it's not legitimate to have someone outside of Dominion checking Dominion. And to me, that sounds ridiculous. If I had an employee that I suspected of embezzlement, I sure wouldn't have that employee check into the finance. It just doesn't make any sense.
Thank you. Wise words. Wise words. Anyone else? Anybody out there on the phone has a comment for the board? Louis?
I'll wait till Thursday.
Okay. Breakfast, 9
I'll be there.
Okay.
I'll be there.
All right. Okay, anyone else have any comments? Please.
Is this the only time for comment?
It's the last time in this meeting. Yeah, please come up to the podium and sign in and state your name.
Yes, sir. Oh, hi, my name is Wendy Chase, and I'm not a lifetime resident of Cheboygan County, but very happy that I live here now. I'd like to say that I respect all of our election officials. First, let me say I am a Democrat, but I respect all of our election officials.
So is my mother.
And I believe that what we should be trying to do is work on ways that we can strengthen our democracy and work together and stop doing these things that tear us down and put the wedge between us so that we can't make progress as a country. And, you know, I'm well aware that Cheboygan County is majority Republican. And you voted and I voted, and the results are the results. This country asked the electorate to decide if President Trump should stay our president or not stay our president. And the American electorate voted. That's the way it is. You voted the way you wanted, I voted the way I wanted. The election results are the election results. We had multiple officials and multiple judges everywhere saying that this was a fair election. The electorate very smartly and bravely decided that President Trump should be taken out of office, but left almost all the down ballot candidates, Republicans, in office. There's a purpose for that. The purpose is to have a functioning democracy where both parties compete through policy discussions for votes, not lie to get votes. None of us that are Democrats that voted didn't cheat, and we're not lying about anything. And I don't think the majority of Republicans are doing that. What we need to do is be together and say, okay, I'm a conservative and I want this conservative candidate to win next time, so how can I earn those votes? I'm a Democrat, I want the Democrat to win. Whatever. But it has to be something that we realize as a country we cannot throw out the window. You cannot throw elections out the window and say that they were, meddled with, done with. If those things had happened, officials would have found it. There's always some fraud. They're finding it. They're doing the appropriate things as far as prosecuting people that do fraud. I agree with the callers that have said, this has to stop. It has to stop. We have to be together as a people. And we have to work against everyone who wants to keep us divided. We cannot be a divided America. We must do our duty as citizens. If there's a reason to do an audit, then the audit should be done. There's no reason to do this audit. And contrary to what the kind lady said, that we don't need to have the same person performing the audit that is charged or thought something hinky went on. That's true. But we also don't need to turn our machines and things over to somebody that we don't even know, or we don't even have a record of being able to respect, and then be stuck as a county thinking that we can't trust any of the machines again. If the goal is you don't trust the machines now, so you want them all thrown out, so the county has to pay for all new machinery, well then, so be that. If you can't get past anything without doing that.
Wendy, your time's up.
Okay.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Anyone else?
Got a small thing, Slim.
Okay, speak.
First of all, so I apologize for the breakout earlier. I just want this to be a fair election. This is America, and we should be able to do what we want to do, and that is to open up the ballots and take a look at them. This is America. This is not Korea. This is not China. This is America, and that's what I am. I'm an American, and we should be able to do this without hurting anybody's feelings. It should be okay. This is America. It's not North Korea. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Go ahead. Hello, I'm Madeline.
I'm sorry, we're still taking comments from in here. We'll be back with you in a minute.
Okay.
Go ahead,
I'm Larry Hall from Indian River. resident since 1977 up here. And I hope I can get through this without blubbering too much, because I'm getting emotional already. December 7th, 1941, my father was 21 years old. Shortly thereafter, he was on an LSD, driving a landing craft and dropping off frames. He answered the call. He didn't hide. If he did hide and didn't answer the call, would the United States of America still have won the war? I'd say yes, they would have. But now we're in a situation where an entirely different type of battlefield. We've got the far left and their socialistic ideology trying to take over this country. We've seen reports from Dr. Douglas Frank, Linda Lee Tarver, used to be the black woman who used to be the vice chair of the Republican Party in Michigan. Talks in her testimony, talks about all the corruption and fraud that she saw. We got Jovan Pulitzer and all of his evidence that he's come up with. And now the call has come to the Cheboygan County Commissioners. As I understand it, the Pernals team found unmistakable evidence of corruption in the electronic portion of Antrim County. And he's trying to decide and prove or disprove that that corruption infiltrated Cheboygan County and the other 81 counties in the state. This is just an opportunity for them to either prove or disprove what Dr. Douglas Frank is talking about. Now, our founding fathers, when they signed the Declaration of Independence, they pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. If you approve the audit, and even if it doesn't prove anything, or if it does, nobody's going to line you up against the wall and shoot you. Your lives are not in danger. Your fortunes aren't in danger. Every one of you here has errors and omissions insurance, so if you get sued, you've got a big insurance company behind you to protect you. The sacred honor part, you have to answer for yourself. Put on your makeup in the morning, shave in the mirror, you look up, am I looking at a patriot or a coward? Thank you.
Thanks, Larry. Anyone else?
Joe.
Joe Klein again.
Hi, Joe again.
I just have to hope I can read my writing. I'd like to change the narrative a little bit. Thank you, ma'am. I don't know too many Democrats, and I think you're a wonderful person already. But anyway, I want to change the narrative simply by saying I want the citizens to be confident that our voting machines have not been compromised by either foreign nations or entities. We should want to prove these machines are accurate. Why is there so much backlash? Now, if we pay for the audit, there'll be questions of favoritism, either this way or that way. If it's a free audit, that's mooted. In our county, we had a FOIA request done, and it showed that there was 117 adjudicated ballots. Keep that in your mind. That means there's something wrong someplace. Benton Township showed 18 duplicate ballots. I filed that FOIA myself. It also showed that the voting machines, instead of being, the voting monitors, instead of being a 50-50 mix of the two major parties, there wasn't. There was 3 and 1. That's an irregularity. Aloha Township, also I filed a FOIA, but I'm not going to bring mine up. It was a husband and wife team, the same household, on the same day. They brought the FOIA request down to the township. The township clerk down there was extremely efficient. She was She had them back to them in 4 days. I didn't know Traverse City mail went that quick, but, anyway, I digress. On those 2 foyers at Benton Town, at Aloha Township, the same question was asked about adjudicated ballots. The husbands said yes, there was 2 adjudicated ballots. The wives filled out the same day, same address, still happily married, 30-some odd years. Hers came back and said, no, there's something wrong here.
3 minutes, Jim.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Joe. Hey, Beth.
Thank you for your words. And thank you. I almost feel like it would be nice to turn around and talk to a mixed delegation of people in our community today. You know, to turn around and address the people who are anti the forensic audit so that they can maybe understand some of the information that has brought to the commissioners. And really, this is the only forum that we have today where we can actually do that, and we can address them and sit down and fairly civilly hash out some of the points. If any of them have any questions on what an adjudicated ballot is, or that the FEC guidelines when you're using electronic voting machines says that an acceptable error rate is 1 in 10 million ballots, and we had 117 at the very least in our county. And so that is the discrepancy. It's not what percentage, it did my vote count? We still have not narrowed that down, okay? So if we don't believe that every vote should count, we don't have a democracy, which we really didn't set out to have. Our government is not based on a democracy, we're an indirect democracy. But that is the nexus that we're at here today. It's simply that we need forums where both sides can talk to one another and be informed of the details and the information. So thank you, today provided that.
Amen.
And if they'd like to see the FEC guidelines, I could go on. Every one of them was violated by state level authority. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Oh, there, hurry.
If I can sneak in quick, I just wanted to do a reminder here. This is Missy France again. And a lot of people don't realize this, but I know we've got a lot of people that are putting faith in our legal system and our, you know, our lawyers and that, and bar, so they all have to pass the bar exam, right? And I just kind of Googled this real quick, and the first thing that came up, it says the bar was England's own British accreditation registry. Its members were considered to be nobles, being above the common person, and all lawyers or attorneys had to belong to it. And they were under the will of the King and the Bank of England. Just let that sit in, okay? Maybe research what the bar really is all about and kind of understand that and start to learn that we are not practicing common law here in the United States. We are practicing admiral law. And so that's a whole other can of worms, but people are putting a lot of faith in our judicial system. And we're going to find out that our judicial system is corrupt. And so, yeah, just plant some seeds to think about, research the bar when you guys have some time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else here in the room? Anyone else on the phone?
Yes. I'm Madeline Naylor from Toppanaby, and I want to comment that this auditor is unauthorized, unacceptable, and I want the voting machines remain accessible to everybody.
Thank you, Madeline. Anyone else? Okay, the citizen comment portion of this board of commissioners is closed. We're down to board member comments. Let's go around the table. Rich, Ron?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think we need to acknowledge everyone that's come in and spoken on the phone. Obviously, there's a broad range of opinions. And I don't speak for everyone, but I believe that the purpose of organizing this committee was not to pursue anything. I've heard the words pursue today, and as far as I'm concerned, and to my knowledge, we're not pursuing anything. So I think there's a lot of anxiety. I hear anxiety and emotion out there, but the purpose of that committee, Election Integrity Committee, is just to do research. We haven't pursued anything or started anything. Obviously, the gentleman that spoke to the legal ramifications, obviously we have to listen to our attorney and our counselors. And so I think that everyone needs to understand that we hear you, but we are proceeding very, very cautiously, and that we're trying to represent everyone. But we're not pursuing anything. At this point, all we're doing is gathering information. And if any of you want to correct me on that, please do. But I would just appeal to everyone to remain calm and not get upset, and let us look at this. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Ron.
I have nothing.
I have nothing.
I would just like to say that I don't think for the majority that this is about the county clerks or the township clerks or the city clerks as much as it is from, I think it's all above the heads of all those officials, especially in counties our size. And I don't know where that came from, that we were, going against the clerks. They do the work, and I think they do a fine job. But I'm not so sure on the state level all the time I don't agree with them having changed dates of, required dates and things like that. But I was lucky to serve my 16 years under a united method at the state level and the county level. So, but I want everybody to know, I do not think it's the clerks and of any type, local level or county level. But the state level may be different, and Wayne County, of course, is always different in everything in the whole state of Michigan. And I believe the whole problem lies with the absentee ballots and the process of absentee balloting. And that's my personal opinion.
Thank you, Mary
And
Ellen.
not in Cheboygan County's absentee ballots. I mean, they're just a drop in the hat compared to
Okay.
Wayne County and the large areas.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. Roberta?
Well, I'm going to change the topic a little bit.
Okay.
I visited the Veterans Memorial Park this week. They have been doing wonderful things there. I can't remember exactly when Tom Smith and his group started. Well, just a couple of years ago. I mean, it's fantastic. They have things laid out now to put in the new sidewalks. Of course, some of the bricks have been down. So
Coming along.
just want to say something positive about
Good. Thank
about
you for
the day.
coming along.
Yeah, it is, and it's wonderful.
All right, administrator had a little something to do with that too.
Just with that point, Mr. Chairman, the grass will be mowed this week, right before Memorial Day. Well, I know there was some maintenance grass there.
I emailed them yesterday.
Okay. Yeah, I know they were working some things. I'm sure they tomorrow for maintenance, but that happened a few years in, one time on Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, we've been treating weeds there for 3 or 4 years, and so there won't be dandelions up.
I saw the
24
sign
hours.
when I was there.
We don't have anybody that makes wine anymore from dandelion. Jeff, do you have anything else?
Nope. See everybody on Thursday.
All set.
Sheriff?
Well, it kind of goes to the Veterans Park. The work crew is back up and running.
Good.
We're back to work.
Good, thank you.
And the seniors and nonprofits need something done, the work crew is available.
Good. Thank you for that. Okay, anything else? How about a motion to adjourn to the call of the chair?
So moved.
Support?
Support.
We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming.